Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. Wanted to jump in here, running a little late, but also running a little early. Broadcast was supposed to start at 12:20, and I decided to jump in. But we also do this every hour at noon or every day at noon, so I wanted to jump in here and to get into the conversations. Today's a good day, working from home, getting quite a few things done. Um, Sorry for the noises in the background. We've got dogs, so that makes it fun. But today I wanted to jump in, open up the comments and to talk with you about some of the things that you're using, some of the tools and resources that you're using to build connections, especially during this time of quarantine. I want to talk about the information that is available to you to continue to build relationships, to connect with more people, and the tools and resources that might give you the most benefit in creating and establishing better relationships. Now, I want you to know that I have studied and watched communication, and I've watched how it affects and influences a lot of people. But I myself consider myself a professional business expert. Don't necessarily have the best routines in creating relationships, which is why it's very, very awesome for me to learn and to grow and to participate in this, because it allows me to learn as I continue to conversate with everyone else. So at the end of the day, I want you to know that I'm not perfect at this. But I wanted to talk with you guys and see what you thought and what tools and resources are you using, what tools and resources are being effective for you to be able to stay connected with people, and what is actually helping you to build relationships during quarantine, during all of this pandemic and so forth. I've been trying to avoid the words pandemic and a few other terms because I don't want to push an agenda of fear, anxiety, or um, catastrophe, right? I want to focus on promoting a dialogue of availability, abundance, incredible opportunity, and so forth, because that's what I'm finding, that's what I'm seeing. And though that there are some interesting things in our world right now, I would definitely go as far to say that I would rather focus on the good than the bad and be aware of the bad, right? And because of that, I take a cautionary approach to the discussion on, the stay-at-home orders and self-quarantine and social distancing and so forth. And I appreciate those people who are actively involved and actively engaged with these conversations, and I hope that you'll jump right on in. Doing so will get your face on our screen, and doing so will also allow us to converse and to create solutions and ideas and platforms for everyone else. As people are jumping in here, I'm going to take just 2 seconds and share this to two of my groups, just so that people who are in our private groups and private mastermind groups can associate with this video and get involved and play around with us. So I'm going to share that over right now. I am broadcasting to multiple pages, and that's been a fun tool for us because we've been able to reach a lot more people with that. So as I'm adding this to a few more, you guys probably saw yesterday I posted just a fun little graphic. Yes, I am so cheesy, corny with graphics, and I'm the master at Canva, man. I'll jump in and create something that looks okay within like 5 minutes. So I'm really, really good at doing that. But yesterday, we talked about turning your connections into raving fans and loyal customers. That was a fun conversation. Got to have with a few of you, and I appreciated that. Today, we're talking about the tools and resources for connecting, and I want to know about what's working for you. On Wednesday, tomorrow, we're going to be talking about activities that build prosperous partnerships. I'm going to dive into the science behind the mastermind groups that we host and what we do to create an environment for you to build valuable relationships that lead to trust, that lead to partnerships, that lead to profits, that lead to you actually getting paid. And the reason why we talk about that stuff is because we've been implementing it in our events. We've been implementing it in a lot of our masterminds. And it's also just something that we've been practicing. Even though we can't be in person or a large group, we can do it virtually. The experience is a little bit different, but I'm optimistic because as I participated in a global virtual summit last week hosted by Eric Swanson in the Habitude Warrior Conference, I had the same feelings um, with the speakers, the engagement, the audience, yada yada. I had the same feelings as I did as if I were in an actual conference. Now that was really interesting because I was sitting in my chair, I was in my office, I was in a cubicle, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't near anybody, but I was still able to do so much with just one summit. And so we are learning that the science behind what makes people connect, what makes people build relationships, and what allows people to really, really grow in an environment is based on an activities. So tomorrow we're going to dive into a bunch of the activities that we do. You're welcome to come and take notes and steal everything I know and everything we do and use it for your networking events or whatever, or just practice using them, or even suggesting them for house parties and stuff like that. Things that will allow you to connect with people at a better level. Okay. On Thursday, I'm going to give away again my 3 secrets to turning connections into money. I gave this 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to share that with you again. That's going to be a private Zoom room opportunity. So please, if that's something that you're interested in, I'll be putting out the link here soon so that you guys can join in and listen to that. But turning your connections into opportunities to make cash is, in my opinion, one of the most important ways to build a relationship. And then on Friday, again, I'll be hosting or co-emceeing with the Global Virtual Summit, produced by the Habitude Warrior Virtual Summit, or by my good friend Eric Swanson. So there's just a few updates. Just jumping in, you want to say hello, please do shout out in the comment section. I can bring it up on the screen and we can talk about some of the tools and resources that you are using to stay connected. The first one I'm going to talk about, and I'm just going to put this one, tools, I'll just put it in here. What tools and resources are you using to stay connected? Matt Gibbons jumps in and says, teach us, John. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. You know what I love about Matt? Matt, I love a lot of things, but Matt has like a new profile picture like every day. It's awesome. He's kind of a marketing genius, and so anytime Matt makes a movement, I'm always like silently studying, and I'm like, what is the purpose behind this? What is it? What is he doing? And I'm always just like taking notes and watching. It's awesome, Matt. You're amazing, man. And in a minute, if you want to talk about using YPC, I'd love to. It's something that I want to get better at, and it's also something that I want to promote to our audience, but it's something that I think is a great tool. So let's talk about that in a minute. And here I am going to pull up mine. What tools and resources are you using to stay connected? Michael Chandler, and he said, why is your personal connection? I love it. So maybe we'll start off the conversation with that. Maybe we need to start with, he says, thank you, brother. But let's talk about why, right? The why. I have been pulling up my phone every day, and in the YPC app, you have the ability to connect with people, and it has the most recent people that I've conversed with. So in this, I've got a contact here who I need to follow up with. And that contact actually is such a good contact that he reached out to me just the other day and said, hey, sorry, we need to keep connected more. Hope you're doing well. We had a conversation on Facebook and so forth. But as you connect with people, this becomes your own personal CRM, not your CRM. Okay, this isn't your CRM, but this is your own personal CRM for connection. It gives you the opportunity to follow up with people, and it reminds you that, hey, maybe you need to follow up with people. And I love it. I love that I can stay connected. One of my favorite features about the YPC app is that I'm allowed to create my own business card, my virtual business card, and I can send that business card for people to save on their phones. But in those business cards, I can have a video. I can have a link. I can have all kinds of information that tells them about me. And that's more memorable than anything else. And here's why. Here's why. I'm such a geek on the science and the why behind everything. And Matt says the fortune is in the follow up. Yeah, man, I totally agree. I got to interview last week at the Virtual Global Summit, which if you have not signed up for it, it's free, guys, so you can tune in all day and watch. But as I was participating in the virtual summit, I got to interview Dennis Yu. Dennis Yu is the founder and CEO of Blitz Metrics, and they have some incredible understanding about social media analytics and algorithms and so forth. The guy is an absolute genius. And let me tell you a story about Dennis Yu. Dennis came to Salt Lake City, I want to say in 2000 and I want to say 2013 or 2014, and he spoke at a conference that I was attending, and he stood before everybody in 2013, and he showed everybody the back office, right? The back sites, or how to manage Facebook as a business. And it blew me away. It was the one thing, the one trigger in my life that I was like, wait, people aren't just flipping through Facebook and using cat memes to connect with people, but there was actually a business model behind using Facebook for your business. And now I knew businesses had Facebook pages. I knew that organizations used Facebook and yada yada, but no one was taking it quite seriously as a tool for building relationships online. And I I I started to delve deeper into what he was doing, and I ended up buying his like $99 program, and I learned a little bit about the backside of Facebook, and he taught us how to hack the system and get into it. And this was before there were some pretty strict guidelines for Facebook. But before that, this was in 2013, and Dennis Yu is basically showing us, yeah, you can drive up conversation, and this is even before live was a thing. Okay, but he was showing us all of the different strategies that work to create and build relationships and to increase your marketing organically on Facebook. And I loved it. And I was like, wow, I'm infatuated by this guy. He's a genius. So I've been following Blitz Metrics for a very, very long time. And then I had the opportunity to interview him last Friday. And it was so cool. And you want to know what he did? He took the time in his keynote presentation to show us on his phone, right? To show us on his phone how he was responding to messages and how much more personal they are and how much more effective they are and how much more he's able to connect with his people. Okay. And one of the things that he shared with us was video messages. He says short, less than 15-second video messages. If you can keep messaging under 15 seconds, you will capture people. He says that's why Vine was so big. That's why TikTok is so awesome. That's why a lot of these virtual platforms take off so quickly, because it's fast pace. And I used to be big into Twitter. Okay. I still have a Twitter account. I don't use it the same way I used to, but Twitter was huge for me because I could go to conferences and I could speak to the speakers through my Twitter account. I could engage with them. I could talk with them. Twitter was like the flat world spectrum. If you've ever read Michael Friedman's The World is Flat concept, not the world flat believers, okay? Just remember that. The world is flat believers believe in something else, okay? The world is flat concept is where the playing field is flat. Everybody lives on a flat level plateau, and we are all equal. It's those who use and manage their time wisely and their resources better who escalate, right? But it's the people who, are victims, right? They aren't able to proceed. So anyways, all of this said, I got to interview Dennis Yu, and he took most of his time to talk about video content as you talk to people, less than 15 seconds. And it reminded me of the power behind YPC. YPC, the app, okay? There's the YPC app. You probably can't see that, but the YPC app, it allows you to send video messages. And I was thinking about my video messages, which I was like, I need to be better at this. I need to actually create a video message, but I need to send that to people. And then it reminded me of like what other apps, what other resources and tools people are using to stay in touch. And I love where YPC is going because they're on top of it. They're ahead of the game, and they've created a professional platform for it. I want to take a second and just acknowledge the comments are coming in. Taylor Douglas is in the house. Hey, Taylor, we need to catch up. I love what you're doing, and I have to catch up with you. There's so many cool things. Matt says the strategy works 100%. Video messages for the win. Absolutely. I met some radio people on Twitter once. I actually created a relationship, and they let me come into the studio multiple times. See, Taylor confirms, right? Twitter was I don't know how it is today because I'm not on Twitter nearly as much, but because of the succinctness and how you communicate, you can only communicate things in one tweet and then, drive a thread of tweets. That's why I loved Twitter. And seriously, you could talk to a lot of reporters, and I think all the reporters are on Twitter these days, because Twitter has so many compounding, or not compounding, let's say confinement type restrictions. It's a really cool platform, just like a Reddit, right? I love Reddit, by the way. Reddit's awesome. Where a lot of those platforms, you've got to get creative. And I like Twitter because Twitter does create a flat earth mentality for a lot of people, that we can all speak to each other. You can get in touch with celebrities faster on Twitter. You can, just like Taylor said here, you can get in touch with high profile athletes a lot faster on Twitter. Okay. And you can reach out to, the president of the United States. Okay. He's given Twitter a bad name, I think, just with everyone's perception. But Twitter is still full of people, says Taylor. I'm going to see that. Twitter is fully of politics. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you said that. You said that before I said it. So Twitter is full of people, also lots of politics. And I think that's where I think people in politics go to Twitter, because that is the place, that is its platform, right? If I go on Facebook and I post something political, it turns into a war. It does. It turns into an absolute war. Everyone's opinions, people are hurting each other verbally. And where on Twitter, you can't get into long conversations. You have to be decisive in what you communicate. And when you post something, it's a stamp. It's a stamp of you and your brand. One of my favorite Twitter strings is when large companies started posting responses to Netflix's Netflix was responding to Netflix and Chill, and how that was sexually explicit content, and all these other companies started posting along with it, and they were saying, what would our response to Netflix and Chill would be, this, and this, and they were all adding these not derogatory, but they were explicit content about their response to Netflix and Chill, and how they would promote their company and their services, or what they would say and respond to it. It was it was so entertaining. Some of my favorite conversations and strings are from Twitter. So I know that was a bit of a tangent, but I was sharing all of that because it's a place where you can get a hold of really important people. Taylor is a great example. She said that she reached out to a reporter who she got to know very, very well, and then she got to tour the facility. That's awesome. You can talk to reporters, you can talk to incredible people of influence through Twitter. So that's a great resource to stay in touch and connect with people. And she says it's a place to put out really short messages. Yeah, absolutely. And the more creative, the better, right? If you have a graphic, but your text is, I'd say that the graphic game, or the PNG, or just like picture posts on Twitter, isn't as effective because people actually read the short comments. I get more engagement on my tweets when it's just like a quote than when I post a video or when I post something Right now, my LinkedIn account is linked up to my Twitter. So no matter anything I post on LinkedIn, it also goes to my Twitter. If the message is longer than 180 characters, I think it's like 240 now, 230, 240, then it'll just paraphrase. It'll just dot, dot, or give the ellipses, right? And because of that, it allows people to have intrigue. But when they click the post, it either takes them to a link that goes to LinkedIn, which is unfortunate, or if it's like a link, then they can watch it right there on the platform. But what a great way to stay in touch with people and bring people on it. Taylor says, I was actually on the radio. I was the talk radio station. That's awesome. That's super cool. That's one of the fastest ways to reach people. A good story about this is here in Heber last summer, there was a bomb threat that closed down the entire main street. I know, in the small little town of Heber. But during this broadcast, um, I was filming, right, and I was sharing videos live on Facebook. And about an hour or two later, the news station picked up on my videos, and they were asking for permission to host it on the television. And I totally just like dismissed it. I was like, I didn't realize they were trying to contact me, but the news station was trying to acquire my footage so that they could broadcast it on the news. And I totally pushed it off. But had I done it through Twitter, had I tweeted a bunch of things and posted it in a hashtag, or sent it to the news station, they could have gotten a hold of me much quicker. So I think Twitter's a really, Twitter's still alive, guys. It's not on the, it's on the low end, one of the lowest ends of its progress and growth in the social media industry. But here's the thing, you guys. I think that, and this is a tangent. I'm going to get back on track here in a minute. But I think that people are, yeah, certain social media platforms are starting to distance themselves from social media and becoming platforms of what's the right word here? Specifics. I'll just stick with that. And for example, a lot of people say that LinkedIn is still a social media platform. I would say that LinkedIn is a professional social platform. I would not say LinkedIn is a social media platform anymore. It does have live features. It does have like and engagement features. But the reason why people use LinkedIn is not to go online and to talk about random stuff. It's strategic, it's engaged, and so forth. And it's a professional social platform. It's not a social media platform. And the reason why is we've been able to keep a lot of media and a lot of mediums out of LinkedIn. And that's just the game they play. So if you're thinking LinkedIn's a good social media platform, no, you should probably reconsider that it's not a social media platform, that it's a social professional platform. So there's just an opinion of mine. Matt says, good point, John, about our brand. Everything on all platforms reps our personal brand, which I believe now is more important than ever. I agree. I 100% agree. And like when I said at the beginning of this call, Matt Gibbons changes his profile picture, periodically. And as I'm studying Matt and watching him, because he's an expert marketer, I've been learning from him and kind of watching what he's been up to. But all of that said, it's very, very interesting. Your personal brand is tied to a corporate brand. Let me talk a little bit for a minute about when I worked at Coldwell Banker. Coldwell Banker was one of my biggest jobs in the corporate world. And I was one of the publicists, or one of the public relations experts, working under the CMO. I guess that was his title. We called him the Chief Communications Officer, but he was literally the Chief Marketing Officer. And we responded and worked with great campaigns in the industry, but we were hesitant to go live, hesitant to ever share, hesitant to do anything outside of our constructs of social media because of the brand we represented. We were a branch, a sector of the Coldwell Banker brand, and we could not tarnish that. Therefore, we had to be very, very careful. And so we felt very, very limited in how we could reach out and build relationships. And though we were posting every day and creating great content, it wasn't as engaging. It wasn't as great. And then we came up with this idea that why don't we take this personal? Why don't we start working with the agents individually and build them up as the brand? And we did that by giving them their own graphics, their own profiles, their own things that they could post. And then we put their signs up and their names up everywhere. And as we posted their names on blue signs throughout the city, Coldwell Banker took over the Salt Lake Valley. We had the most agents and the most reputable brand, and it was following a leader with great agents and so forth. And by that way, we were leveraging personal brands and relationships to improve our company's brand as well, and recognition. So that was something that we did on the public relations and marketing side for one of the world's largest real estate companies. So there's just an idea and a thought for you. Taylor just said Drew R. Garabo 102.5 The Bone. Oh, that was the radio station she went to. Great. She also says it totally is a social media platform by definition, at least. And she's talking about LinkedIn. And I argue it only because of its use, right? 95% of the users go to LinkedIn because they want to update their professional resume platform to acquire jobs and meet new people, so that they can upgrade or move forward in their industry. That's the use. Now, there's a lot of people who use it as a social media platform. Yeah. But it's just different. And she says that it has a different culture on LinkedIn, but as does each platform. Exactly. Just like Twitter does and so forth. Matt says it's genius. Appreciate that. But yeah, it's a great conversation. I love your comments because these are my opinions. I have an MBA in my opinion, right? But as well as I see what's happening in these various industries. But all of these are great resources and tools that you can use to stay connected. And you just need to have a plan for each one. When I've done Gary Vaynerchuk's or Gary V's 67 pieces of content in one day, and I use that twice a week. Okay, I try to create 2 days of my week where I create 67 pieces of content in one day, and I try and practice that, and I get better at it each time I do it. But as I go through it, he even goes through and says, look, you don't want to copy and paste everything from Facebook to Twitter to LinkedIn to Instagram. Okay, you have to have a strategic paraphrased version of the message for every platform, because every platform has a different culture, just like Taylor said. And because of that, we are seeing a lot of people are trying to use different platforms like Hootsuite and these scheduler platforms where they send out one post, or they design similar posts and send them out. And I have learned that while Hootsuite and those scheduler platforms, TweetDeck and a bunch of others, they are amazing. They do really good stuff. But what they do also is they kill your engagement. Okay, they ruin the organic posts that come from the platforms that you leverage. In an ideal world, if you could afford it, you would assign a manager to your Facebook account, you would assign a manager to your Twitter, and then you'd probably group them. Okay, so you would have somebody manage LinkedIn, and you'd also have somebody manage Instagram. If I were to group them, I would probably group my LinkedIn and my Facebook manager together, so that they would provide and create educational posts, and then they would also create professional posts. And they would do it from the same post. But then on my Twitter account, I would lump my Twitter and my Pinterest manager together, and I would have them create small copy edits. There we go. They would create copy in the tweets, and then they would have the graphic that attracts, and I would put those two together. And then Instagram would be his own little deal, or his or her own little deal, that they would work on, and then we would also add something like Instagram would probably filter into our television manager, someone who creates an IGTV account and focuses on producing content that way. My Instagram and my YouTube guy would be the guy or gal. Sorry, I keep saying that. It's just what I say, but it's nothing sexist. But I would put my Instagram and my YouTube manager together so that they would work on all that they're creating. So just going through a few more comments. By the way, guys, thank you so much for your engagement. Some of you I'd like to bring up on the screen if you have a moment. So I'll just bring up the comments. But if you have interest in coming on and talking with these things, I'd love to talk to you. By the way, Willie says hi, and he says he loves the consistency. But I want to address some of these comments. I'm a doctor of Taylor's opinions. Yeah, see, Taylor agrees with me. Taylor agrees with me that we should be entitled to our opinion. But I tell people that. I say, look, I have my opinions, and don't take my opinion as right or wrong, or don't take my opinion as what as something that you should be offended by or turned off by. My opinion is my opinion, but it can change, right? My opinions can always change because my opinions are built on experience. They're also built on the constructs of my studies, right? As I study people and observe, I'm constantly changing my opinion. So Willie said Gary V. Taylor says 67 pieces of content each day. Dang. And I can send you that PDF. In fact, I'll look for it here while we're talking and I'll post it here. But it's a really good exercise to just learn what types of content you can create and what engages. I love it. Gary V is a genius, and he shows it to you in various ways. Matt says, don't do it. I can't remember what we were talking about. Probably the Hootsuite stuff. That would be an interesting one. So, hey, John, totally off subject. Do you have a fancy microphone for video podcasting? Ooh, this is not off topic, Taylor. I appreciate you asking this. In fact, I'm going to share my screen and let you guys check out a few things, okay? Let me show you some things that I'm looking at. To answer your question, Taylor, sorry for my dog. Hold on one second. I got to yell at. All right, and we're back. Hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, there she goes. She's mad at me. I told her no. So do you have a fancy microphone for video and podcasting? So obviously you can tell I'm at my house. I'm using my laptop. I'm using this not that great. Both my dogs are in on. Hold on one second. Okay, and we're back. Sorry, guys. The dogs get loud, and it's really piercing. So I'm at my house today. I decided to work from home. I've got just a regular earbud in. Okay, and I don't prefer this. Okay, I'm using my laptop, right? And when I'm at my office, I have 3 microphones. Okay, I have a special blue snowball microphone that I use, and I only use it when I can hide it because it's smaller, and I put it up close to me. I also use a Blue Yeti that Ryan just purchased that we are playing around with and getting some stuff. I also use, so here's a simple trick. You guys ready for this? So when you plug in your earphone, right, and let's just say you fold it over like this, I will tuck this into my shirt and have it under my button. Okay, I have to pull off her comment here. So I will tuck it into my button, and I'll have this little thing right here, and it picks up sound very, very well. So sometimes this, as long as it's not rustling or I'm not moving or there's no wind, this picks up just enough sound in a perfect place, even if it were up in my ear. So now that it's further away, it's a lot louder. But as I talk to this is not my preferred way, but because I'm at the house and I left all my camera equipment at the office, that's where I draw the line. But this is the bare bones minimum of what I feel like is great for content. I've done podcasting for a little over 2 years now, and we have over 20,000 downloads in our podcast, and we get paid from our podcast off of advertisements, and it's a great platform. I love it, but it doesn't matter if there are noises in my house going on right now, and it's okay. Like, it's fine. People love professional quality, but they don't necessarily. It's not mandatory. It would be harder if we were talking really loud into the microphone and this was really hard to understand, right? That itself would be a more difficult conversation, and not many people like that quality. But what people do like is content. They do like relativity, and they like humanistic stuff. So to answer your question, I do not have a fancy microphone here with me. At the office, we use a simple Blue Yeti or a Blue Snowball, and those are affordable ones, and they're great. When we go to the studio down in Lehigh, they have their own like a studio microphone and stuff, and I prefer that. But when you just need convenience, the Yetis are awesome. Let me show you guys if I can. I'm gonna share my screen here. I'm gonna take off your and I'll leave it on here, Taylor, and then I'm gonna share my screen. Hopefully there's nothing embarrassing. Okay, so you see double of me, right? I'm gonna move over here and I'm gonna show you some things that I've been looking at. So hopefully I'm gonna just make sure that this is popping up on your feed here. Okay, I see myself. I'm gonna pull myself up. Yep, okay, I see it. All right, so I'm looking at just some cool little things to improve the experience. Like, there's a little sliding board that you can hook up your DSLR. I have a DSLR that I love to use. I also have a ring light that I've really enjoyed for my phone usage, and that's allowed me to center my phone. I can go horizontal or vertical, which there's science behind both of them. You should take double photos, one horizontal, one vertical, and so forth. Let me show you this. I've been looking at this one, and it may not pull up because I haven't looked at it in a while, but I keep this. Smooth Mobile. This is just a cool selfie stick that's really good for out and about usage, but it also can be used as a tripod, and it also has the ability to follow you around. So that's just kind of one that I've been looking at. It's definitely been like hitting up my my advertisements because I clicked on it once, but I do like the look and the usage of it. Here's another thing that I've been looking at to improve the experience. Now, this is not a tangent from what you asked. I've been looking at smart mics, Taylor, to answer your question. And the reason is because I like these smart mics. This one is called Sabintech, okay? But you just clip this to, you see this, the women have it on their blouses, but you just clip it and it picks up the better sound than this does when I have it plugged in right here. It is Bluetooth, but you can also hook it up to a wire and string it to your back. And I like that because that is in my opinion, a very, very good usage of things, and it's minimal. I don't like wires. I don't like things getting in the way, right? This is all stuff that is good, and it works really, really well with your camera because you can plug it into cameras and stuff like that. So that's just one thing that I've been looking at. And of course, it comes in better colors like white and black, right? I appreciate them. There's some very, very, if you guys know marketers, there's some really impressive marketers who do this too. But I am a big fan of the smart mic stuff. And that's something that I've been looking at investing in. Here's another one that I've been just looking at: equipment, tools, and resources that I think, oh, this would be really cool. I've talked to my wife about creating a vlog because we love to cook at home. And I love this one because I can just mount my phone on this, and then it hooks up through Bluetooth, and I can do live streaming. But I can do live streaming and go into this, and it'll follow us around the kitchen. Like, as I move over here and start chopping things, it'll follow me. Or if I move over here and I start talking to the screen, it will follow me while on the screen. And so that will help a ton with a lot of our broadcasts, because if I'm using the whiteboard, right, and I want to draw on the whiteboard and show you guys some things that we talk about in regards to building relationships and take you through that experience, this is a really cool tool. This one's called the Pivo, Pivo. It's a really cool tool. I think it's good. You can hook it up with a bunch of stuff. You can put it on tripods. You can also get a studio for it. I don't recommend those things, but there's some cool marketers and bloggers who are using Pivo that I really like. And those are just kind of the costs. And then the last one is, these are just some of the things that I was prepared to talk about. But like, here's just your basic Zhang Yu podcasting kit. And I like this one because it's got the table mount. It's got the various ways I can prop the mic and protect the microphone. And it's giving me a bunch of really great connection pieces to make the experience better. If you guys like watching videos, like if you've watched a training by Kyle Taylor, my good friend Kyle, by the way, amazing business consultant and advisor. He's got the drop down mic, and that's a really effective tool. The one thing with those though is they don't pick up really noise around the room as well. So you've got to be up close to the mic to get the best sound. But I like that experience for the user because the user gets to hear an intimate version of your voice that's up close and personal, and it blacks out everything else around you. I prefer that, but again, it's all about the user and the experience. So I'm going to go back into StreamYard here and stop sharing my screen here. But I thought that was a great question and not a tangent or off subject. I was hoping to talk about tools and resources to stay connected. Tools and resources, even if they are microphones, cameras, this is the number one most important device that you own. This can do everything. This is much better, even if you have an older model. I upgraded to the 11 Pro from iPhone 6S, and my 6S was taking better footage than this little camera right here. So just think about that, guys. It doesn't really matter what you have, but they're great when I use stuff for a more professional setting. When I'm home or we're in quarantine, people accept this as a standard better just because we're all in quarantine and it's the best I could do right now. But yeah, I highly advise you get quite a few different options. So I hope that answered your question. When I used to manage small business, I had constantly been telling our team why we had to generate different content for each platform. I'll send you that PDF, and if you walk through it, Taylor, you will see why Gary Vee expressed this to do so. And that's how I kind of learned it. I don't agree with everything Gary Vee says, but I love his motive, right? He actually challenges me in the opinion of LinkedIn, and I feel like you do too. And Gary Vee is very good at saying, the more personal I get on LinkedIn, the more I connect with people. And it was really cool because that challenged the professional aspect that I was saying. So love it. Glad you guys are interacting. You too, Taylor. Appreciate you. People like people. Eric Swanson, everybody. And Eric, don't worry, we're going to talk about the summit later. I've been telling some stories about Dennis Yu earlier and so forth. It went very, very well. So thanks for jumping in. But people like people, no matter what. At the end of the day, I could hook up my DSLR to my computer and have everything running out of perfection. And people like that. People like that. I do. I follow a lady on YouTube called Adrienne, and Adrienne does yoga. Her name is Adrienne Does Yoga, and I watch her yoga videos, and I do yoga in the morning simultaneously to her video. It's like what people do when they had videotapes or whatever. They did the at-home workouts. Well, I do yoga every morning with Adrienne, and I like it because it's clean, it's crisp, but she's got two angles. She's got the straight on angle so you can see where your position is on the mat. And then she's got a corner angle that shows down when her head or her body or her shoulders are facing one direction, she gives you an aerial view. And I like that because it just kind of gives me a better understanding of what I should look like when I'm doing yoga. So what is your fancy stuff? I want to get a microphone and a video system to do some course videos. So Taylor, let's connect separately. But any one of those options that I showed in the screen share is really cool. Ivan says the Pivo is cool. I have one. Awesome. I might contact you before I buy and just ask you a little bit more about Pivo. It looks so cool to me. I thought about it because if you haven't noticed, sorry for the mess in our kitchen, but we have a very, very small apartment. And we have this beautiful bar with these lights that hang down. It's almost perfect for vlogging. And my wife and I do a lot of cooking, and it's more entertaining than it is like, oh, that's so good. We do cook really good food, but I've thought about doing a vlog with my wife. So Matt said he will post the links in the comments for all the equipment. Thanks. I appreciate that. Please, everybody, jump in and share ideas and tools and resources. That's what today was supposed to be about. Today is supposed to converse with you about the tools and resources to stay connected. Now, we talked about social media platforms, okay? I'm going to turn this off. It's a little distracting. But one of my favorite platforms has been Marco Polo because of that video aspect. And Dennis Yu taught me that you need to focus on videos at short routes, okay? I get so caught up on getting into conversations like these. Like, I go from a long-winded live hour where I can say anything at whatever rate I want, and then I go and try to do a TikTok video, and it's merely impossible for me because TikTok only allows 60 seconds, but the best TikTok videos only go for 15 seconds, right? And that's hard because you've got to trim it down. That's why Twitter isn't for everybody. Twitter, you've got to trim it down. Facebook, you can post as long of a content as you want. You can write your book and memoir and story, and it doesn't matter, right? So all of that said, it just depends on what you're using. Taylor says, yes, thank you. No, we'll post the links. And I can come if you, I can, oh yes, Taylor, let's talk about it for a minute. Taylor, texting you a private link. Here you go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, Taylor, you should be receiving a text message from me. It's a private link to jump on if you would like to chat. Because I can go more than an hour today, guys. I just want to talk to you about this stuff because that's really cool. So Rick Denley says, hey, pal, you've seen my setup for video, backdrop, pull-up screen, best-selling book, etc. Yeah, that's a good point. I want to bring that up, and I want to talk about a friend of mine who uses something similar too. But you guys invest in a background. I don't have a great background. It's my messy kitchen. If you haven't known already, I've got my closet door open because I've probably got stuff laying out. That's the horrors of doing this from home, but it's totally normal to do stuff from home. And Rick has a really good system. He's got a backdrop of him, his best-selling book, his tour and stuff like that. And he uses a really good video setup. He's got the pull-up screens, and then he's constantly promoting the best-selling book, which is awesome. It's personal branding. It's a great setup. It's a great way to stay connected and have conversations about the same thing. Rick, I value that. A friend of mine, Jen Foster, Jen, I'm going to tag you in this so you know that I talked about you. Jen is one of my good friends, mentors in writing books, and she's helping me finish mine. And Jen, she does virtual conversations, and she has this little fold up. It looks like one of those Asian dressing rooms, the accordion walls that you set up and then you like put around you, and then you can get dressed and stuff. If you know what I'm talking about, right? Anyways, Jen uses it so that she can put stuff behind her, like her branding, kind of like what Rick does. It's a really cool accordion foam-like board that she can set up behind her, and then she can bring her screen up very, very close. Go, I say nipples up, but that's offensive for some women. So let's just say chest up. Taylor's laughing in the green room right now. And as we film, you do chest up. And you usually clip the top of your head. By the way, I just realized today I've got a little alfalfa hair. I like it. I'm digging it. I'm going to keep it. So as a result of all that, she has this little studio that she can enclose herself in. She can do this in public. She can do this at libraries. She can do this in her office, but she has this little backdrop. And Rick does a very, very good job of using these tools and resources to help him in his video content. Every time I brought Rick onto the screen and we've interviewed and talked with Rick, he always has an incredible background, and it's never like plain white wall or whatever. It's usually good. I need to get better at switching my orientation and talking more to like we have a beautiful little corner over here where we have nice setup, nice shelf and stuff like that, and other stuff. So you just got to get creative using your house. You guys, I want to introduce you guys to Taylor Douglas in the house. Hey, Taylor, I totally brought you on as you were like putting something in. Oh, there you go. Yeah. I was on a broadcast last Friday, and I was in the green room backstage, and I was eating a pickle for my lunch break. And Eric Swanson thought it would be hilarious if he would bring me up on the screen mid like pickle bite. And here I am, just like ooh, in front of thousands of people. So there you go.
That's hilarious. I had to mute myself so I didn't like laugh you off. That's hilarious and awesome. But hello, happy. What is today?
Today is Tuesday. Can you believe it?
Tuesday. Checking my watch to know what day it is.
And we've only got a few more days left in the month of April. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, my event was supposed to be this weekend.
I know. I know.
So sad.
But that's going to come down the road, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So today we've been talking about tools and resources to stay connected. A lot of this is because a lot of people have been reaching out to me. I have not been like, I tell people that I talk about connecting and relationships every day, but I'm not like perfect at it. And I had a friend reach out today and say, hey man, what's failing between our communications? And I texted him back and I said, it's all me. Like I'm so behind, and thank you for being resilient and persistent and patient. And I love it because people just got to know that you're never going to be perfect at communication, but what you can be is intentional. And just letting people know. But I wanted to kind of bring you on the screen because you offered, and we've been talking about tools and resources. By the way, you look awesome today. The lighting's great. Backdrop's awesome. We're both using headphones, which work great. What did you think about the headphone idea that I talked about, folding it over and tucking it in your shirt?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you could do that. I don't know if I could do it.
It's all right. I've done that for like videos when I'm recording speeches. So that I can get the volume and the sometimes when you use editor programs, your lips don't move with the voice. And so I will oftentimes record myself with an up close microphone like this, because this will capture audio faster and upload it faster than like video on video content.
I mean, there's one more option. Like you could just make yourself a mustache and just use it like this.
That's great. I love that. It kind of reminds me of a breathing tube, like an air tube. And so you probably can hear my breathing, my nasal breathing.
I don't know. Breathe. So. Don't say anything and then breathe. Let me see.
You can? Okay, yeah, there we go. You guys, we are having so much there it is. That's actually not a bad idea though. But yeah, anyways, you were asking about what microphones do you use. You're looking into microphones. Those are some that I've been looking into. Matt Gibbons says he's going to post about Pivo, but I've been looking into these smart tech Bluetooth microphones that you can plug in, but also you can string them behind you and stuff like that. But I would say that, and this is I'm taking this out of Gary Vee's book. Okay. I agree with a lot of stuff he says. I don't agree with a lot of stuff, but I'm not a millionaire and he is. So we'll argue back and forth all day long. But what I would say is that people resonate with human to human connection. And if it's real, if it's something that they're like, wow, that production looks so professional, I can't resonate with it because I'm not in a studio. I've never seen a studio, that kind of stuff. People don't typically like that, but the attractiveness always keeps people watching. Now, when it comes to creating that human to human connection, making it feel like, hey, I'm sitting in our living room, or hey, I'm at my personal home office, or hey, I'm just at my desk, or hey, I'm in a place where it's intimate and you can join me. That's a really great way to produce. Now, if it's for course material in front of a whiteboard on a fancy couch, TJ Menlove posted a comment and he reminded me, TJ has this beautiful fireplace in his house that he will oftentimes shoot videos in front of, and it's cool awesome. Because it's like you light the fire and it's like, hey, I'm by the, it's by the fireplace. It's a really cool setup. So
I could use that, like I could put a TV and put like the next Netflix fire and then just pretend.
Yes.
I actually have a fireplace. I'm gonna put a TV in it and put a fake fire. And I'm gonna do videos in front of it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh man, I love it. So anyways, what thoughts, what ideas do you have about staying connected with people? I want to chat with you. You and I have been delving into these conversations, but also really just trying to explore what works and what doesn't, what's been helpful, what hasn't, and so forth. What are some of your thoughts and ideas?
Well, what doesn't work is not doing anything. Like, that's what doesn't work at all. So no matter how you're going to communicate with people, whether it's text or voice or video or whatever, the number one thing is to just be communicating with people. And, and not get caught up in specifically what the way is that you're going to do it. The second thing is just find something that makes you comfortable. Like, if you love voice messages, just send a million voice messages. If you love video, do video. And if you like voice messages, videos exactly the same, pretty much just has your face. It just depends on how attached you are to what your face looks like, so but I honestly, so just a little while ago, I was sending messages to all my new friends on Facebook, because you can actually go into your friends and you can sort by how new or old they are. And so I go every once in a while and just send messages to all my new friends. And I sent someone a video with like a filter that changed my voice and was like, hey, nice to get to know you. So like, just being real with people, like no matter what that looks like, is probably the most important piece. But I know you mentioned Marco Polo. I love Marco Polo. We Marco Polo a little bit. Live videos are great if you have something to say that people can have a conversation with. Because most people that watch live videos aren't willing to generate the conversation. So you got to have something that you're going to say so that people can respond to you. And then just being consistent, reaching out to people. Because every person you interact with is going to have the way that they prefer to communicate. And that's honestly the more important piece, is because there are going to be people who aren't going to listen to your voice messages. Yeah. They want you to type it all out. There's going to be people who don't want to watch your live videos, and they're going to want to read something. So like people, that learn visually or learn by audio or whatever, you got to kind of play to all of those different pieces, because if you only do one way of communicating, you're going to miss like 2/3 of the people that you're trying to get your message to.
Boom. That was so powerful. Oh, I'm so glad you said all of that. And thank you. Thank you for coming on and sharing that. By the way, I could talk to you all day, so I don't know what your time frame is. I kind of started this a little bit late, but I could keep chatting. Those who join us for the live hour, is it a true live hour if I go over an hour? Yes, of course. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. But you're absolutely right. And that's kind of why I tell people, I don't want people to think like I'm a Gary Vee enthusiast, but I'm definitely a Gary Vee promoter and a respectful person in him. But he does have this PDF called the 67 pieces of content in one day. And the first time I did it, it took me 3.5 hours. It was so hard. But then I've done it over and over repeatedly. I probably do it once a week since February. And because of it, I get used to creating content in different ways. And sometimes it's as easy as like this live video. I could repost this live video with a comment that's a little bit more in depth, tagging you, tagging the conversations, tagging what we did, and that will share more engagement, right? But it's very, very fascinating to me that there are different ways to communicate and reach other people. But you're absolutely right with your first thing that you said, which is if first do what you're most comfortable with. If you're just a texting machine, text people. If you're, it sounds like someone's trying to reach you. That's awesome.
Hold on a second.
You need to go. I'll keep talking. And as Taylor takes care of something in the back room, I was just going to share with you guys that it's so important and so vital that you have that you have a way that you communicate with people. And as you oh, that's really nice.
My kids gave me mail.
Hey,
while I'm working.
That's cool.
Oh, there's another one.
There's more mail. Okay. So, but pick a way that works, right? You got to pick a format that works best for you. And when you pick a format, you can use that to the best of your abilities. Looks like Taylor just posted that link in the comments section. GaryVaynerchuk.com, how to create 64. Oh, I keep saying 67, but 64 pieces of content in a day. It's a great PDF. I've done it before. It's awesome. It just shows you just kind of the combination of what you should do. And the reason why I suggested it is Taylor nailed it on the head. And she said, not everyone's going to pick up what you use as your main way, but have your main way of communicating. whether it be through text, voice messages, or Marco Polo. I will say, Taylor, that because of Snapchat culture, I have this anxiety of when people send me voice messages, like a little voice message text, right? That I feel more inclined to go and click that and listen to it right then and there than any other text message, because I feel like because of Snapchat culture, it will go away. And if I feel like it's going to go away, then I will miss out on the conversation. And so I don't want to miss somebody's conversation and have to say, hey, can you send that again? Because that's not appropriate to me. But I think that's interesting, because there are some fun and cool and creative ways to stay in connection with your contacts, with the people who you want to meet. And you mentioned that you do this with some of your newer connections.
Yeah, so every time I make new friends on Facebook, so if they accept my friend request, I immediately send them a message thanking them for accepting my friend request, and like seeing if there's any way that our connection can like serve them. And usually when I send someone a friend request, like I had a reason. So if I remember the reason, I'll usually tell them if I haven't already sent them a message when I sent the request. And then I actually go to my new friends that have added me and I accept their friend request. I let them know, hey, I accepted your friend request. Like, would love to get to know you. Like, let's connect. Like, let me know if I can serve you in any way. And half the people don't respond at all, and half of them do. So it's just a way that I intentionally connect with new people. It will give you a lot of, I know we keep talking about this like whole like public profile thing, but it will really give you a vibe of who these people are. You know, like, can you have a conversation with this person immediately? I mean, a lot of that's on you and like how you have conversations, but are they going to actually have a conversation with you? Are they just wanting to sell you something? Because that happens all the time too, you know? Like if your first message to me is trying to sell me something, it's probably your last message that you'll send me. But, you know,
100%.
it's just, I don't have time to deal with it. And sometimes I do actually have a conversation with people like, hey, are you open to feedback? Like, I'd love to help you just actually connect better with people so that you can actually get more yeses to your question that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that and agree with that. And I think that's so cool because, again, it's about your connection, right? If you want to stay connected and build valuable relationships, don't go in on a new conversation and list a memoir full of things about your product and your sale. But get to know somebody. I had a weird conversation last week where a guy texted me and said, and I'm still curious, like I'm still wanting to, play it out and build a relationship with this person. But he messaged me and said, hey, we want to feature you on our live hour. And I was like, great, let's do it. Let's set it up. So he tied me into a 3-way conversation on Facebook, and then it turned into a sales pitch. And they were like, we'll back you up on your live hour, and we'll do something for you, and we'll set you up for. And I was just like, wait, what happened? There was no really good communication there. It immediately turned me off. It immediately made me like not trust what was going on. And then I felt like the third person who was entered into the conversation had no idea what has been said before. So it was just weird and awkward. And I was like, wow, that was not a really good tactic. And I feel like people do this all the time. They're really bad at communicating. Like I admitted today, I'm not the best communicator. I just communicate a lot. And sometimes I get away with it. But some people call me out and they're like, John, you're not coming in clear, or hey, you haven't messaged me in like a month. And I'm like, ooh, sorry. Like that's all on me. I'm not perfect at this. But
it's hard to keep up with so many connections. Like when you are a connector and you are intentionally going on connecting, you end up with hundreds of people you have to stay in contact with, and it's almost impossible to contact them every single day. Yeah. Like that's why engagement on Facebook is so important. Like just responding to comments that people see and liking people's stuff. Even liking someone's thing is like, hey, I saw you today, and I'm with you on that. Like I will just forget conversations for weeks, and then I come back and I'm like, hey, finishing this conversation now. Sorry.
Yeah, we do that all the time. But I love that video message platform because it literally does allow us to pick up where we left off, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes those are the best friendships and the best relationships. So, Taylor, joining us on screen is going to be Mr. Matt Gibbons.
Hey guys, what's up? If it's too windy, tell me, because you guys were talking about background, so I thought I'd get a really cool one for the day.
Yeah, that's
So
nice.
it's not my screen like my normal screen, but something a little fun today.
Well, you were saying earlier that you've got your typical. Oh no, it was TJ. TJ said he's got his. Where did he
His beach
say?
background, yeah, he has his beach
Yeah,
background.
his
He's got
beach
a couple of them
background.
actually. Yeah, they're cool. It helps with the clutter, I think. But it's like you guys are talking about. Just to jump on with what Taylor said, the most important thing is the audio. That's why I'm saying if it's windy here, you got to tell me, because the audio is number one, video is number two, I think, as far as this kind of stuff goes.
Well, here's my favorite concept about audio, and I've played with this because I've ran a podcast for several years. Is when people find the content engaging, and then all of a sudden the audio content is harder to hear. People start to listen more, but you don't want to maintain bad audio for too long, right? But it causes people to dry, and it's a little muffled. It's a little difficult sometimes, but I can hear you pretty loud and clear. Hey, what thoughts do you have on some tools and resources to stay connected?
Yeah, so I got those new Raycon. They're wireless. They're freaking awesome. That's all I'm using for this audio. And I'm outside. It's windy. The freeway's right here, so hopefully it's not too noisy. Staying connected, obviously the social media platform that you are most active on and engaging on I think is a huge way. Facebook Messenger is really good. The reason I thought we could have a conversation, we were talking about YPC earlier, and to piggyback onto what you and Taylor were just talking about, with you're a connector, TJ's a connector, Taylor's a connector. There's so many people that connect. It almost can be a full-time job. But when you're staying top of mind and just being available in your niche or whatever, and people start to know that they can reach out to you to connect them, I think might be another angle to explore. This happened to me this week. Somebody reached out to me and they needed connections with some people that are connected with Chamber of Commerce. And it was super cool because I had two people in the YPC app that I could just hit the refer button in YPC and send them all their information. If they'd done their video, they got their picture, they have their brochure attachment done, then that person can see everything about them. The other person who doesn't have one, I have to try to find their phone number and their name and to send them that. But what was cool that dawned on me about YPC is, yeah, it's cool that you have it and DJ has it, we have it, but what's even better is that when somebody else has it and we've connected with them, and then somebody's looking for what they have, I can simply open up the app and tap it to connect, to send their contact information right to that person in a text that's looking for what you have. And to me, that's one of the most amazing things about the YPC app, as far as connecting and being referable on that platform.
I love that, and as you say that, I'm now like rethinking how I'm using YPC, and it's just a constant learning opportunity for me because there's so many capabilities with one thing. I need to have you guys back on the show. Let's do it sometime this week or next week, and let's walk through that again. Let's kind of walk through how people can use it and how they're using it. I'm not sure how many people downloaded the app. I think one or two people downloaded the app last time I got people on, but let's set up a time to chat and walk through that, because I agree that is a very, very key way to stay in contact with people and to continue to build relationships and communicate with them. That needs to be addressed and would be an awesome resource for a lot of these people.
And I think, think about now in this downtime, more than ever, everybody wants to be referable because they can't go to their BNI, they can't go to the chamber meetings, which the only reason they're going to is to find more people that are going to refer them, right? But if they're in YPC and they've even upgraded enough to where they're in the directory, and my friend says, hey, I need a plumber, and the plumber's in the directory or they're connected in YPC, they can send them just by touching a refer button all their information. That's what that end user wants. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Because that's why we're all connecting, right? We're connecting on multiple levels. We're connecting because we connect and we enjoy each other. We're on the same vibe, same mindset, that kind of stuff. And we like to connect with people. That's why we're here. But the other reason people are connecting through social media and business is so I can stay constantly at top of mind enough that you know what I do, so that you can refer me when someone goes, hey, I need this, I need this, I need this. Oh, I got the person for you. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Or
100%.
So,
And I love that. And that just expands my understanding of how I should be using YPC and various other apps and tools, because that's exactly why we connect. It's so valuable.
it's exactly
I love
right.
that.
And because at the end of the day, people are going to connect with, it's not know, like, and trust. It's know, like, trust, purchase. And people are going to purchase from people, more importantly, from somebody Garrett Ingram brought this up this week. It's people purchase from people they like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all goes together. We're still going to be able to purchase from what we like. And if somebody absolutely doesn't know you, you can become likable if somebody can see a broader perspective of what you're about and who you're at. And that's one thing YPC does better than anybody I've seen. So, I think it's one of the best connecting tools right now with what's happening, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I totally agree. And by the way, I've been reading a lot of reports, very, very educational based reports and thoughts, and everyone's kind of waiting till May 1st when the governor's going to come out and say, okay, we're going to loosen up. You guys can start going outside more. But the truth is, you guys, we have no idea. The second we loosen up on these restrictions is when the cases will rise, and there's going to be so many more restrictions that are going to be put on us. So it's better to just stay indoors for a little bit longer. And so we could be in this scenario till late June. Like, we have no idea. And because of that, that is an incredible habit to create, not just for this time that's down, but create that habit, like Matt suggested, so that you have that habit moving past when we no longer have to be in quarantine, right? It's so important that you continue to develop that strategy of connecting with people and having a better way of connecting, rather than just doing it to make ends meet and get by right now. And I love that you said that, because we honestly have no idea how long we're going to be like this. But from my educational
I can't
resources,
hear you, Johnny. I'm going to jump out of here and try to jump back in because I can't hear you.
okay, sounds good. Usually it does that when you
and then
when
or anything. Just one last thing. What I was saying earlier in the comments. If you'll put the links to all those things you got,
yes,
the pieces of tools in here, that'd be cool. Because there's a couple I'm looking at, and then we can circle up and talk about that Pivo thing. Just reach out to me. I'm gonna bounce off here since I can't hear you. So I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate your time.
Love you, brother.
I'll keep
Appreciate
watching.
you.
Talk to you soon, man.
Awesome. Love you, brother. Thank you. You guys, Matt Gibbons was so talented in the way he described it, but that I agree. You guys need to recognize that we're going to be in this scenario. We're going to be in this situation for a while. It's not going away. Things are not better just because we've slowed. Distancing didn't kill the virus. Social distancing and stay-at-home order has slowed it down so that hospitals can take in what they need to. But they're still what do you call it? Preparing for a mass. I just hate saying the word, but I'll just say a pandemic. And because of that, we've got to adjust. We've got to focus. But like he was saying, create a better habit of connecting and be more strategic in how you connect. And YPC is becoming a very, very great opportunity, an option for people who need to get their business stuff out there, to introduce themselves, to present themselves, and build relationships. A lot of people who've been attending like BNI and chambers of commerce meetings and so forth, where they go and connect with valuable people. Those have been very, very interesting opportunities for a lot of people to get their word out and meet people. But now that they don't have that, YPC is a great option because they have the ability to leverage that professional profile and send it to a lot of people. And that is really, really good. So I 100% endorse and would love. I will post in the comments section here all the links of the various websites that I posted, have been researching and looking at, that I think you guys should check out and get involved with. I'll be posting those here in the comments section soon. You guys, I haven't purchased, which means I'm not an affiliate. So just know how generous it is to just say, hey, here's what I'm researching. Here's what I'm coming up with to make my quality better. Here, you should look into it too. So just pick up on that, you guys. There's some authenticity there that I want to broadcast, because a lot of people are just like in the sales mode. Sell, 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 sell. Just share, give, right? It's so important these days. Speaking of giving, I came up with the idea on this call, and I'm going to be organizing it with my good friends Matt Gibbons and Willie Blake and TJ Menlove and Taylor Douglas. But I'm going to be hosting a virtual networking party. Now, listen to this for a minute here. I'm going to host a virtual networking party. It will either be used through Zoom or StreamYard. I will let you know, but it will give you the opportunity to meet and connect with people in an environment that you can share what you're doing, but in a very, very structured and creative way. And Taylor's jumping on. I'm going to bring her on screen. I hope you're catching what I was just saying. But we're going to be hosting a virtual networking event. And a lot of this stems from some of the stuff that we've been able to do at our Amplified Minds event. And I'd still like to open up breakout rooms where we can still mastermind and create those connections and so forth. But a lot of people are struggling because they need to talk to people. They need to brainstorm. They need to come up with ideas. And very, very few people have come on my show, even though I've given the open invitation to brainstorm and talk to them about their businesses. I'm a master in masterminding and brainstorming and facilitation, which allows me to kind of get into the weeds of your business and create ideas and solutions, and then challenge you to say, okay, well, of these options, what are you going to do? And it allows people to build their businesses from within, and have the inspirational conversation. So we're going to be launching that here very, very soon. A couple things also coming up on our docket is that we'll be launching a masterclass, a 6-week masterclass. We've got some cool celebrity speakers coming in to talk to you. That will be to be launched later. But anyways, as Taylor's been joining me on and off, and I appreciate the vulnerability of jumping on, taking care of kids, jumping off, coming back on. So cool. It's just so cool to see that. That's why I love human to human connection, because it's so real, you guys. We're stuck at home. We're with people we love and we care about. And as soon as I'm done with this live hour, I've got to go take my dogs on a walk. But so anyways, just kind of jumping back into our conversations. I missed a ton of comments as I was eating up everything Matt was saying. But it sounds like there's some really cool comments. Like TJ says, an offer truly has to be authentic, a win-win, not one-sided. Sad when it appears as Spamish. Yeah, we talked about that. That was your comment. She says, Taylor said, I was incredibly collected, incredible parenting mentors this week. They were thrilled. That's cool. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I got into this group this last week. All about looking for guests on podcasts or being a guest on a podcast. And I was in the group, and I, love to just connect people. And there was a post that was looking for someone that I was like, I know exactly who you're looking for. I have somebody. I connected these two people, and they were so excited because they're in that positive parenting mentor space, which is smaller space. And so they were excited to get connected together. So when you do something specific, you really want to know other people that are doing that thing, because it's really validating and you can throw ideas back and forth, and which is why this is valuable, like what you do, because you're telling people, hey, let's talk about your stuff you got going on, so. But you should always be knowing the people in your circles so that you can actually give value to them without it being you being the one being valuable.
Absolutely. I've always lived by the methodology that if you want to be the coolest kid at the party, host the party. And you don't have to do anything. I can hide in a bathroom during this party, but let everyone else have a really good time, and I'm still the most valuable person. And not to like, that's not like a bragging or a boastful piece, but it's just like you create value by creating the room and bringing people in and attracting them to the things that they resonate most with. And that's a really cool concept that I love it. And you provide value when people can provide their value through your resource, through your venue, through your platform, and so forth. And that to me is more valuable than anything else. Is people can come on here, they can talk, they can chat, they can converse, they can share and promote their own stuff, but they can also collaborate and create with other people. I absolutely love that. I value that so much. So I saw your post here. You had some tools and resources. Let's talk about some of these. Messenger is one of my favorites. It almost has unlimited access, almost. Some of us have been jailed before.
Well, I think your audio is like way ahead. Hold on.
Oh, am I skipping ahead?
You like say something and it takes like a while until I can hear what you said.
Let me try something. Popping it back in.
Now I can't hear you at all.
Nope. Can't hear me at all. Guys, isn't this awesome?
I can't hear you.
Is it?
Oh, no.
Is it?
Is it me? I don't know. Can everyone else hear John?
You're fine. Testing.
Maybe it's me.
Can you hear me?
Hold on.
Anyways, as Taylor jumps back in, hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to just test this. Let's go to Facebook and just make sure. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay. So as people are jumping in and out of these conversations, hopefully you can still hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah.
And I can hear you. Perfect. Okay. So what happens sometimes with this app, the broadcaster is typically never in sync, but other phones, other devices are. It's really interesting. I think they're on the cusp of really making this industry in a good way, but they've got a lot of things they're working out. It's a fun platform. But I was talking about Messenger and why Messenger is such a cool tool because back in the day, we used to pay for the minutes on our cell phones, right? And then we would get charged for going over our text message limit and stuff like that. And now we no longer have to worry about that stuff because Facebook eliminated it. As long as you have internet service or 4G or something to connect, you can send unlimited amount of text messages through Messenger. And I love
it's not only text. I mean, you can send text, you can send audio, you can send GIFs, you can send videos. You can call people on Messenger. Now, it's weird to get used to, but you can call people, you can video chat, you can have group video chats. Very soon, up to 50 people group video chats.
Wow.
Like, you can do almost anything you can do with like 6 or 7 different apps all on the same platform. And you can upload your contacts and all your Facebook friends. You can also get contacts on Messenger without being their Facebook friend. And which is really valuable. Like if you want to just create contacts on your Messenger at like a networking thing or whatever, you just have people add you on Messenger. You don't have to be their friends on Facebook and you have their contact information.
Exactly. And it automatically drives the conversation. It moves right into it. Facebook is fascinating to me. And I used to be of the opinion, right? I used to be of the opinion that Facebook was on a downward spiral. But statistics and revenues have proved to me that they are the #1 platform, and they continue to grow by a landslide in the billions every year and every quarter because of their capabilities. Because I can reach out to my friends in the Philippines through Messenger and not have to pay any long distance calls, and I can have an unlimited amount of time spent on that phone call with them. Okay. And it doesn't matter to me anymore. So they've eliminated the communication scams. I'm going to call them scams for now, that a lot of providers have charged over the years. Communication tech has grown so much over the last few years because Facebook eliminated all those. You're going to see the extinction coming for various groups like Skype unless they figure out how to, adjust in a market where Zoom is much better, and other pieces and other platforms. If you don't evolve, if you don't adjust, that's not the conversation we're having, but I'll get off my platform because that's just I get so excited about that stuff. But you're absolutely right. Messenger is such a great tool, and you can send people money.
Oh yeah, you can. You can send people money. I mean, you can do a lot of different things on Messenger. You could play games, I think.
Yeah, you can play games.
There's a lot of things you can do.
I just recently learned, not that I'm interested or anything, but you can date through Facebook. Like you can send.
Can.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated, but I won't sign up for it.
I know, right? Like I wish I could observe like a fly on the wall. Like every party is cool when the single person shows up and they're like, hey, I'm having trouble connecting with people. And you're like, oh, let me see your Tinder. And then you start going through and you start swiping for them, and it becomes amusing for the non-single people. But yeah, it's such a good tool.
You can send files on Messenger.
I've learned that there's a size limit, but you can send files. I tried sending someone my ebook, and it didn't work. So I had to like email it to them, which to me was a pain because it was like, oh, I want to do everything from within the app. But anywho.
Yes.
You also mentioned Voxer. I like Voxer. Voxer apparently on the protected spectrum, meaning it has more protectional rights than Marco Polo and some of the other apps. Voxer is a 100% like all-in investment. Voxer will protect you, will protect your information and your data. Marco Polo is a little bit looser. They're not as strict, but who actually reads the terms and conditions they sign up for things? So those people who don't know that, Voxer is a safer platform, but they do the same thing. Marco Polo is more engaging and exciting because it's continuous video streams, and you can go back, you can save, you can download, you can create. It's so awesome.
There's probably a lot of platforms too that we're not mentioning because we're more on the business side. But there's a lot of ways to connect, and you just got to go where the people
are. When the way you said it and how you said it reminded me of The Little Mermaid. And when exactly you've got to go where the people are, right? And I think it's funny that you bring it up because we are business focused and we talk about our businesses, but honestly, it goes back to the personal branding thing. Like, what's the difference between my personal brand and my business? It's another topic for another day. Right?
Another day, yeah. It depends on the business, a lot of things, but
yeah. And I want to take one mention. I don't know if we hadn't talked about this. We hadn't talked about promoting this or talking about it. But the other day, Taylor reached out to me and she said she was going to do a personal dive into my personal profile, and she was going to give me kind of a executive overview on some of the things that she sees as an outsider. She actually unfriended me to see what other people see before they come into my profile, and then friended me again. And I responded, I was like, how are we not friends? And she says, no, I was studying you. And I was like, okay, this is great. But she gave me some great points and some tips on the usage of my social media that I'm making little tweaks every day to adjust to, because I value her opinion, but I also value the way that I portray myself to people that I want to connect with. And it was such a cool deep dive. And I told her, I said, why aren't you charging people for this? Because it was such a great skill. And she says, oh, I never thought of that. But it was something that she has a really good, keen visual for, and a strength in her talents that she can recognize why people would connect, why people wouldn't, what it comes across as. And she gave me some really cool in-depth information on the background. But I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about that and ask you, what is your other than branding and of course and like visual aesthetics, what is your appeal to noticing people's profiles, and what does it do for you when you decide to make relationships on Facebook?
Well, for me personally, I'm really intentional in all of my connections. So, I'm looking specifically for like kind of high level assumptions for like how people present themselves in the world. Because at the surface level, how you present yourself to the world is part of who you are, right? I mean, and it may be inauthentic, but it's what I'm going to have to interact with. So, I did a post the other day about, like, if one of the first things, and obviously it's all timing, right? But if the first thing I see on your profile page is you belittling anyone, like name calling, like extreme, like excessive negativity about anything, like that's a big no. And yes, I'm a mentor, and yes, I help people, you know, be better in life, but like there's a level, right? Like you gotta realize that like what you're putting into the world is what you're getting back in the world. So that's not the question you asked me.
No, I love it. It's still good though.
But when I personally look at people's profiles, I want to know if they're easy to engage with, right? If they're arguing on their posts, they're probably not easy to engage with. Now, discussion is different than arguing, right? Like you can have a really disagreeable conversation without arguing with somebody, you know, so I look for if they're arguing with people about their opinions. I don't really care if you're posting your opinions, you know, like if you have extreme opinions, like that's not a problem for me, but it's just how you present your opinions. Like if you're not respectful of that there are other opinions in the world, that's a big turnoff for me as well. And I kind of want to know what people do. Like I kind of want to see what they do with their life. Or like who they are and not just what they do, if that makes sense. Like absolutely. I kind of want to see the whole picture a little bit, like just a little. I mean, and I'm not, I don't post a lot about my family on my Facebook just because I go connect publicly with so many people. Like it's, you know, for that specific purpose. I'm not afraid to talk about it, you know, but you get a pretty good idea of who I am by looking at my Facebook page. I'm easy to connect with, you know, like there's posts that you can easily connect with, spend 2 seconds, you know, commenting on without having to watch something really long. But then there's also videos. So like there's the different levels of like people who are committed to what level of connection they actually want. And then if you're in business, you should have some way for people to find what you do in business. Now, you don't have to constantly be promoting that on your page, but like, what is it? Are there links, you know, to it, or do you just have it kind of written out like, oh, I help people? I mean, not everyone is a mentor. So, I mean, you know, whatever it is, I own a 6-figure cell phone business or whatever that looks like. But there are specific things. Let me look. Sorry. You can say something while I go pull up a profile. Just
well, I love this concept because I'll bring in an example. Okay. Brendan Burchard. Okay. Brendan Burchard, one of the highest high-level mastermind providers in the world. Brendan Burchard has his High Performance Habits book, High Performance Habits Mentors and Mastermind. Some of the world's biggest leaders are in his mastermind. And for the longest time, Brendan Burchard was accused by audiences, by fans, by people, not accused in like, you go to, you know, it was more of just like people said, you are a robot, dude. You for somebody who's very good at connecting with people, you seem to be business only and business minded. And in the last year, I've seen all of Brendan's advertising and marketing, and even his emails. Brendan sends a picture with him and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand it until you started saying that. And I was like, Brendan wants people to see him as a human, as a family guy, as a respectful, lovable person who can carry on relationships outside of business. Because he was on his way to the top, and he was accused. He was accused of not having relationships outside of business, and I think that's why, because his wife has nothing to do with his stories. His wife is nothing. Sometimes there's a comment in there like, "Oh, my wife said this," or blah blah blah, but it's never like the imminent focus of the actual content he's creating. And I wondered about that. And so you're absolutely right. And I love your opinion, Taylor, because first of all, I'm fascinated. And second, I haven't ever heard of someone who's as methodical in how they connect with people than you do. And you know, I've told people I'm so guilty of, you know, trying to grow my following years ago by accepting everybody and reaching out to everybody and so forth. And now I'm a little bit pickier, but you are such good at orating the methodologies behind how you connect with people. And it made me think about the why behind every decision I make. Some days I'm like, oh, what the heck? Let's just everybody, And then some days it's like, no way, like X you, like you're out of here. But you have a method, and though the method changes, and though it's not always perfect or it's succinct, it's still a process in which you evaluate. And it's usually because you want to know more about the person, which I think a lot of people should take note from. And that's a really great resource. We used to call it Facebook stalking, right? But it's not that anymore. It's value, it's validation.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying, I'm going to take your profile and just see if you're someone that's, of interest of mine. You're either a client of mine, you're either a potential friend, you're probably a bestie, or we have similar interests, or you're just someone that I wouldn't like get on my feed and then say, oh man, I need to block this person, because you don't want to make that mistake, right? So I don't know. I love that about you.
I don't like having to unfriend people, although I do. But literally just this moment, someone I went to like first grade with just added me on Facebook.
Wow.
And I haven't talked to in like, well, if I'm honest, ever, really. And so it's just interesting, like if you are on Facebook, you're obviously connecting with people. Like there's a reason, and you just got to know the reason that you are on Facebook. Some people are on Facebook because we run a business and we want to connect with people. Some people are on Facebook because it's just like their time out. Like it's what they do with their life. So just knowing what you want to do on Facebook is important, because I'll show you and your peoples.
Yes, please. Thank you. I love this time. We're 35 minutes over time, and I love it because we're just talking about some really great stuff, and I want to stay on this.
So this is my Facebook. I don't know, you can kind of see it. I mean, you can see that since I'm in business, I am, here, I can flip it. Does that work?
There you go.
There we go. Okay, so since I'm in business, I just want people to know what I do. I do speaking, I do mentoring, and I do live events. So like if you want to buy something from me, you can buy those things at some point, but it's not trying to sell it to you, right? It just tells you who I am. It's kind of my branding. But there's a piece right here that you can use, and you can put whoops, don't do that. You can put a nickname on your account. Mine says interpersonal influence mentor. Nobody's going to know what that means, but it's interesting, right? There's a lot of things you can do on your personal Facebook. You can put an about you on your Facebook. This is how you change your nickname. You just go to other names. You can have a nickname, right? I've had personal development mentor on there before, but this is what people are going to see when they first see your profile. Because see, if I go to your profile, John.
I love this. I love this like in-depth. Oh man, this is so exciting and
you
revealing.
Don't have a nickname, right? I mean, and you could,
I mean, my family calls me JJ the Jet. I'm just kidding.
I mean, that would be funny. But when people even when people find you places, when you're on a computer, if someone goes over your name, this is what shows up. A little box shows up. It'll tell them how many followers you have. It'll tell them your name. If you had a nickname, it would be right here. Look, you became friends with a bunch of people recently, and we have a bunch of mutual friends, and gives me an option to contact you if we're friends already. I wonder if I can find someone who's not my friend.
Look up my friend. This is a great example. Look up my friend. Just type in Ryan Fritchie.
Oh, Ryan Fritchie.
I don't know if you're connected with Ryan.
I think I added him.
There you go. First one.
But we might be friends. We are friends.
Oh, you are friends. That's funny.
We are. It's new. But so if you look at his, right? He doesn't have a nickname. I mean, this is fine. A lot of people don't actually know that's a thing. Right, but you can see he has a family here. This is obviously something that's very important to him. He has him. And right here, he tells you exactly what he does. Entrepreneur, coach, payment processing service provider, high-risk consultant, strategist. You can find some of the things he does, right, because he's got a business. And this is really important. He has other ways to connect with him. You can see his Instagram, what is this, Skype? Is that what that is? His LinkedIn is right here. And so these are other ways that you can actually connect with him. And so, I mean, since we're doing this kind of live, it's kind of interesting. Let's see. So here's an opportunity for you to join his daily live so you can see what he can teach about or who he's talking to. This is something he was tagged in. So this is something I love talking about. Okay. You can curate your timeline the same way that you curate an Instagram feed, okay? Like, he doesn't have to necessarily show this on his timeline. He can still be tagged in it, and it'll show other places. But if he doesn't want this on his timeline, he could go remove it from his timeline. So I always suggest having the setting on where you have to approve things that are posted to your timeline. That's especially helpful if any of your friends get hacked or anything, and they just, how that happens. See, here's another piece where he is showing. Nope, that's not him. See, that's not him. I don't know what this is. See, someone's tagging him and stuff that isn't him. There's another one, same person. See this? See, look how many things he's tagged in by somebody else. You see how look, it's literally his first, I haven't even gotten to another one of him yet. Do you see this?
There it is.
No, still haven't found.
What's
someone
the name?
else tagged him on this.
Okay.
Look how many things he's tagged in that aren't him. No, this is something he's actually asked in. But if you were on his timeline and you were trying to find a way to connect with him, here's when he was with you the other day. You guys did a live. This is the first one, April 16th, which was almost 2 weeks ago. And these are all just things that he's been tagged in. He posted this one, but he's sharing your thing. So if you just look at this, he's not doing a lot of personal posting. So you're not actually going to really see him show up on your profile unless he gets tagged in something else. So
fascinating.
I find that really interesting. Let's go to someone that I trust. Hold on. We'll go to Jenna's page because Jenna's a rock star. So Jenna is awesome. So Jenna is a joy coach, and you can see she has a lot of ways that make it easy to connect with her. She has a link here to her group. She has a link to the course she currently is selling right here, and then a link to a page where you can find what she's got going on. So she had an event. She hosted a watch party of one of her videos. She asked a question. This is for an event she was doing. Hey, look, she shared one of my posts. That's fun. She is reaching out to her target audience with different things. This is an easy way to connect with her. She posts something every single day that shows you who she is. She does videos. You can see there's a lot of variety. A lot of variety on what she's got going on. But there's a lot of ways that she's connecting with people. So let's go back. So here's what I'd say. If you want to make your profile freaking awesome to connect with, okay, have your name and have just a nickname that just explains what you do so people know who they're connecting with, especially if you're doing intentional networking or intentional connecting on Facebook. Use your intro to just kind of introduce yourself in whatever way you find necessary. Mine says passion for happiness, passion for business, passion for living life on the climb. So anyone that adds me that sees that is going to know that I'm about not having just a mediocre life. It obviously exudes positivity and it just gives them a really quick, insight into who you are. Make sure that if you're doing this for business or your career or whatever, that your jobs are up to date, and don't show every single job you've ever had.
Yes.
Okay, look at how many I have. Okay, these are all ones that I literally worked at, right? Starting with Wendy's, when I worked at Wendy's. Do you want to know what this looks like if I had all of these on? Watch this. I'll show you what it looks like. It's literally 20 of them, 15. Oh no. Okay, so if I had all of these on, what? Oh, there was an error. But if I had them all on, this thing would be this long. What does that look like on a cell phone? Right? If you're connecting on a cell phone, it's immediately the first 3 scrolls of your phone. Okay, but I'm gonna point to something. So here's something I did. Okay, nice picture, content. Okay, and you want people to be reading that first little bit of your content. I have featured pictures. Now you can have this be whatever you want. Mine is of the event that's coming up some point this year.
I was going to ask you because I noticed that Facebook allows you to do 2 things: your featured pictures and your featured friends, your top friends. that would be a strategic way to show people who you're connected with, right? It would also be a strategic way to show how clean and crisp and concise your profile is. Because if you're being tagged in a bunch of photos like Ryan, and the photos aren't flattering, that's going to appear on your photos, right?
Oh yeah, it will. So there's a setting somewhere, timeline settings. So you go to your timeline settings. So who can post on your timeline? This is who can actually directly put a post on your timeline. Mine is set to friends. Who can see what other people put on my timeline? Only my friends. You can have it set to where people can share your post to their stories. There is, this one's interesting, hide comments containing certain words from your timeline. So you can actually go in and block specific phrases from being on your timeline. Now, what that usually looks like is you upload a bunch of curse words, which is, kind of funny to do. But it's...
Oh, and there are things you can just go online and you can upload them yourselves. You don't have to type them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So who can see posts you're tagged in? So I would make this friends, because on your public profile, you don't like Ryan. I mean, I would have been able to see those, but the very first thing, anyone who's looking to connect with him is going to see 20 posts from someone that's not him. And my assumption is probably that he's either unaware or he doesn't realize that they're just the only thing on his timeline. This is when you're tagged in a post, who do you want to add to the audience of the post if they can already see it? I don't know exactly what that means.
I think that means, do you want, if you're tagged in a post, who do you want to see it? Do you want it to be public? Do you want friends to see it?
It's
only
friends
me.
Yeah, there's only two options, it looks like. So I have my set of friends, so my friends can see what I'm tagged in. This one, okay, you want to have your review posts enabled, okay, because then what it does is it puts up this little thing where you can actually go and say if you want that on your timeline or you don't.
Right.
So if you want to see what your public profile looks like, you can click on view as. Okay, so this is what my public profile looks like if you're not my friend. Okay, it looks really close to the same because I've intentionally done that. But what you see is you don't see my friends. I have it set, you can't see who my friends are if you're not my friend. My random life events, but you just see all my public posts. And so you just want your first, and if you want none of your posts public, it's totally fine. Just have like 10 public posts that you intentionally put on your timeline. Post something that you want people that are connecting with you to see and make it public. You don't have to have everything public. Just have this part look really nice. People don't usually go much further than this. This is what they're going to judge you off of. And they're going to judge you because it's what human beings do. When I'm talking about what I'm doing and looking, it is really a surface level judgment, right? And it's not personal. It's just, you won't have time to get to know every single person. So you just want to look like someone worth connecting with.
I love it. And it was kind of funny, Taylor. We had a conversation with Kyle Taylor in one of his trainings. And he was talking, and I don't remember if it was a personal or a professional page. I think it was professional, but I might be wrong. But we were talking about how using, we were talking about how we can use a video that you can pin to the top of your page so that people can go in and say, oh, here's a post with a video, and they can watch it. And you can do kind of like an intro video, like, hi, my name is John. And this is what I do, and yada, yada, yada. And then have, a call to action from that and do that. And I think if you do a call to action sponsor, then it has to be on a professional page, but you can still do that, right, on a personal profile, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you kind of can. I mean, especially if you're not posting everything public. Like if you really want your profile to be mostly private, like post a video once a week. Post that video once a week if you're making new connections. You could do the exact same one. No one's gonna get mad at you about it. Like no one really cares that much, like it's like a get to know you video.
That's awesome.
That's a great idea. So I mean, if anyone here really wants me to tell you what your public profile looks like, I mean, I can tell you. I mean, some of the things I told John was like, there's just not an easy way to connect with you, right? Like you're posting your really long 2-hour videos. It's a 2-hour video. someone that's connected with you, unless they like have kind of talked to you, is not gonna go. Not gonna go and watch it. They might watch the first 5 minutes, unless it's really intriguing to exactly what they want now. So you just want to be easy to engage with. Have ways for people to talk to you. You know, that's why people post memes in groups, just so people have something to talk to them about. You know.
Yeah.
You can find out a lot about a person by their memes.
I struggle at the meme game. I'm good at posting quotes in conversations, but I struggle at posting memes because
I don't post memes, but I respond with them and I post GIFs on people's comments. I
yes,
use GIFs in comments all the time. Yeah.
And Dennis, you taught me that you can respond to people's comments with videos.
Oh yeah, you can.
So I'm trying to figure out how to do that more, because if I can just be like, ha, Taylor, that was such a funny comment, thank you for sharing, and then just post that, like that to me is pretty cool. But because more people will view that, right? It's an intentional conversation. But yeah, I think that's fascinating. Matt Gibbons says, feel free to critique my profile if you'd like. Matt's awesome.
I don't know if I'm friends with Matt, actually.
You should connect with Matt. Matt's awesome. And TJ, I think you're connected with TJ.
Yeah.
So
look, I'm not friends with Matt.
There you go. Hey, that's a great opportunity to look at something from a non-friend's point of view, right? So I love this, because this conversation was me starting out teaching people a little bit about like the tools and resources that they could be using. And this turned into, look, guys, Facebook is the dominant elephant in the room. And because of it, don't ignore it. It needs to be a focal point. It needs to be a focus. And because of that, here's some tools and resources. And Taylor, who I value and love and appreciate her expertise and knowledge and what she knows and her experience of using Facebook, has just shown us a bunch of ways and tools to spice up your personal profile that makes you attractive to connecting, right? If that's what you need to do. And this is all about building relationships, because right now we have to do everything we can, because we can't do everything. We have to be stuck. We have to be indoors. We can't go anywhere and do anything that we truly want and value. So with all of that said, I'm super grateful for your sharing and for that. And I think a lot of people will take this back. By the way, I just launched a virtual assistant company based in the Philippines. And it's a side project of mine. I don't broadcast it too much yet. But my VAs, they take my live hours, they take my videos, and they go in and they chop it up. They will turn them into small little video segments that we can use for promo videos. We can put them on my TikTok. We can put them on my Insta. We can put them on LinkedIn. They broadcast these videos on all my social medias. Coming soon, right? We're playing around with it. And but what they do is they transcribe my videos and turn them into PDFs and ebooks.
That's
so
awesome.
They take the information. So right now, this conversation we just had, my VA is going to take this. They're going to create a dialogue, and then you and I are going to co-author a ebook that I'm going to send to you. You're going to approve it, and we're going to put it out there about how to make an approach.
That is awesome.
Right. So that's the company I created. It's called Content Caddy, like, a caddy from golf. The content caddies are working tirelessly at night while we're sleeping, so that we have content ready to produce based on our efforts produced yesterday for today. So that's what my VAs will be doing. I'll send that over to you when they're done with it. But how cool is that? Like, it's so cool to create stuff and then to be able to share that knowledge with people.
Yes. No, that's awesome. I mean, I say the best things in videos, and then you never go do anything with it. Yeah. Right. And I mean, it is these conversations that like the real juicy stuff comes out, because you just say stuff that's profound. It's like when you quote people, they're like, did I say that? I guess I did. I feel that's awesome,
And then there's the times when you're like, oh, I should have recorded that. That was awesome. Like, I've been talking for 5 minutes and that was just gold. I want people to be able to capture that, and I want people to have those kind of conversations. So there you go. There's some stuff that we've been doing on the back end and working on. But Taylor, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the value you've shared with our audience, and I hope people are able to connect with you. And obviously, plug for personal branding, guys, go check out Taylor. She's a connector. She's a speaker. She's got some cool stuff that she's releasing, some really cool opportunities coming up with some events and things that we're going to be hopefully doing very, very soon. We just have no idea when, but they'll be happening soon. So I'm just grateful for you, and I appreciate all the information and the expertise and knowledge we can share with everyone. Let's do this more often.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've done it often, but we can definitely do it more often. Also, if you're going to connect with me on Facebook and you're going to add me as a friend, please send me a message. I literally have like over 150 unaccepted friend requests right now. Send me a message and just say, hey, saw you on Jon's thing. Let's connect. And do that to everyone you add on Facebook, just by the way. So,
yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you go so that you can, finish your live hours today. And I love you. Thank you so much for all of your kindness and also your friendship. So thank you.
100%. And we'll connect later too. Lots to talk about.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Taylor. Thanks for joining me. By the way, everyone jumping on, appreciate it. Carrie just jumped in. She said, hey, Taylor, you should look at my profile. Carrie, send a message to Taylor Douglas, okay? And friend request her, but send her a message and say, hey, I saw you on Jon's program or Jon's live hour. Would you be willing to look at mine? It was so helpful and so exciting. I'm slowly making changes to my profile, but still like catching up. And there's things that she recommended that I think is great. Matt Gibbons says 2-hour Tuesday with Jon Kovach. I did not intend nor anticipate to go 2 hours today. I will say that everybody, that when I jump on at noon, I usually have to just like create conversation for myself for like 30 minutes before you guys all jump in around like 12:30ish. That's what I'm seeing in the analytics. Maybe I switch my hours up. Maybe I switch the time frame around. I don't know. We'll play around with it, but I've had a commitment to myself and to my audiences and my friends to go live every day at noon. And what happens, happens. I typically try to keep it within an hour, but today apparently is what Matt Gibbons says is 2-hour Tuesday with Jon Kovach Jr. Thank you. Power clap for that. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And would like to continue these conversations. Join us tomorrow on the live hour as we talk more about the relationships you need to build in a professional environment. Okay, guys, have a great day.